The Centre Court Masters Festival brings this tremendous portfolio of different specialized masters programs that are available at the world's top, I can't say just business schools, given where we're heading with our next recording. And this one's really fascinating to me. I'm delighted to welcome Brad Iben. Brad is the Executive Director of the Masters in Product Management, a program that is delivered both by the Tepper School of Business at Carnegie Mellon and their computer science program. So it really is that fusion that we often talk about of business and technology. And we're joined, as you see, it's a twin interview. We have Jeff Montero. Jeff graduated in 2021 and is a product manager with HBO. So all of those discussions that they have in business school classrooms about succession planning, of course, thanks to Jeff, we get the inside story on that one through HBO. So thank you both of you for joining us at the Masters Festival. Perhaps two schools within CMU and how this program has developed over the last 5-6 years, that fusion of, I guess, design, tech, and business. So tell us a little bit about the school. Obviously its background, it's world-renowned, and then this MSPM program.
Sure, Matt. Great to talk with everybody who's watching. The simplest way to describe it is that this program, this product management program, one of a kind in many ways, is really a marriage of the School of Computer Science and the business school. The three things, sort of the first three things that people think of when they think of product management is design, technology, and business. And we just happen to excel at all of those at CMU, which made product management the natural specialized masters to be born here. And it's interesting. We're actually born out of a very real need from employers, because 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, our dean of the School of Computer Science came from Google. Andrew Moore came to become dean of the School of Computer Science. And his observation was, when I was at Google, we had the most difficult time ever finding good PMs. So let's make them. And it became the natural turn of events that this program spun out from that idea. He actually, we quote him on our website, where he had a quote that said that at Google, when they found a good software engineer and hired that person, they would ring a bell. When they found a good PM, they would throw a parade. That's how difficult he found it, even at Google, to find good product managers. And that's exactly what our mission is to build them for employers and provide those students with those skills that they want.
So the two schools, and you must be packing a lot in, because it's this 1-year intensive program. I mean, tell us a little bit about the curriculum and that combination design, tech, and business, and who generally is attracted to the ticker tape parade that Google and others are looking for.
Sure thing. I'll start with a rundown of the curriculum, and Jeff, if you want to add any color commentary.
Sure.
When you said intense, Jeff smiled, and that was for good reason. But it's a 1-year program, which is one of the major differentiators. Is like, it's focused, it's intense. From start to finish, you're nose down in PM work. We have a blend where we have a core that consists of business courses, design courses, HCI design courses, and also basically leadership and projects throughout the course of the program. So one of the main activities, or one of the main features of the program, is that we have hands-on work. We have internships in the summer. We have capstone projects in the fall, and we have projects in the courses throughout. So it's not just reading a book about product management. It's doing, and it's working in teams, and it's applying these principles and learning along the way as you gain experience. Because one of the things we found is that, especially for such a critical role as product manager, employers don't want somebody that doesn't have some amount of experience, and we send students out the door with experience just like that. Anything I missed?
Yeah, I can definitely confirm that the 1 year nature of it leads to a lot of late nights, but it definitely helps in the product management sense of just learning how to prioritize, because you sometimes you can't literally do everything. So some readings, I'm not going to call out any specific courses. You can't do all the readings, or you're going to lose your sanity.
I like the fact, Jeff, that you say just sometimes you can't do everything, which means there are other times when you are trying to do everything. I mean, Jeff, tell us a little bit in terms of your background. You'd studied business at undergrad at Seton Hall, and you know, coming out of school and thinking about next steps and the career path that you wanted to take. You know, what was your thinking in terms of, hey, maybe business school, I could wait a couple of years and go to Tepper to do the MBA. What was the appeal of the program?
The appeal of the program for me, I guess when I finished undergrad, I started working in financial services first because my major was finance. So I thought naturally I'll just do finance, and I didn't like it very quickly. And I was attracted to this idea of working in ed tech, and I had a little bit of startup experience. I did that for about 3 years. And like many startups, it didn't work out. And at the end of that startup experience, I thought I did a lot of product management work in that role. And I thought, okay, I have this good like 3 years of product management experience. I think I could be a product manager. So I supplemented a little bit of like a technical supplement. So I went to like a coding boot camp, and I did some Udemy courses to kind of make myself a little bit more competitive. But I you know, when I would apply, I didn't have enough product management experience. So then I did some product consulting with J&J and a startup, another startup company in the Bay Area. And I thought, with those consulting gigs on my resume, you know, maybe I can break into product management. I still didn't have enough experience. So then I thought maybe I'll just break into a company I really like, which was called Intercom, in a entry-level role. I was a customer support specialist, and I thought maybe if I just break into this company, I can pivot over to product management. And I got a lot of like product management projects in my role because they had like 10% time, but it still was going to take a very long time. And I was just chatting with my parents, and they were like, you know, are you going to consider grad school? Because, you know, you've been trying to break into product management. Maybe you should give grad school a thought. And I was like, I don't want to just do an MBA, Mom and Dad. Like 2 years, like I want something very focused in product management. And I just happened to Google, you know, if there was only a product management master's program. I Googled master's program, product management, CMU was sitting at the top. So that was what brought me into the CMU like ecosystem of like, should I apply to this?
Those conversations that we had with our parent. Now, of course, in this case, it proved to be particularly productive. And here you are. Brad, you'd mentioned, you know, that there really is nothing else like this, and individuals that might consider, you know, 2 years of an MBA program and business school. So in terms of differentiators for the program, what do you feel really then sets it apart from that MBA track that Jeff could have considered?
Well, that's a great question, because it's one that we wrestle with internally a lot. And there are two categories in which I'll describe it. One is the practical. The practical is such that this is a 1-year program, and you're investing 1 year of your life. And even then, you're going to work during the summer for pay. So in terms of resources, in terms of return on investment, in terms of even opportunity cost of that 1 year versus a longer span, there's a lot of practicality in terms of differentiator that we have. The other differentiator is maybe more substantive, and really the one that students ought to focus on the most is what do you want? What do you want your results to be? And the way that we are focused, the way that we cater to aspiring PMs specifically, where an MBA may be a more general, or it may go deeper into strategy or deeper into business fundamentals. And we focus on those practical skills, the practical application of those skills in that shorter time. And it is an intense year. There's no joke about that. But for those people that know and that are essentially hell-bent that PM is the direction that I'm going, this is definitely worth considering and I want to be very clear. I encourage prospective students, look at the Tepper MBA, look at even our MHCI program here. There are plenty of great ways at CMU to become a product manager. In fact, this is the place for product management, whether it's in the MSPM program or in another program that's adjacent. There are different flavors, different ways, different incoming students, different outgoing results. And we have essentially a portfolio of programs that will help different people at different starting points get to their destination the best way possible. With that said, one thing that is different about the MS in product management is that we have a pretty heavy focus on design and customer concentration, focus on the customer, design thinking. In fact, I taught design thinking 2 of the past 3 years myself, and it's really woven into the core of what the MS in product management is, because we're not just focused on shareholders, we're focused on customers as well. And with all that combined, it's very different in flavor, very different in time span, very different in investment, but it's also for people that know they want to become product managers. So are you interested in technology? Do you like leading teams? I kind of like to say, do you like strategy games? Because if you can bring this strategy component, lead your team to make the customer happy, you've essentially done your job.
You talked, Jeff, about the need for experience. You've taken some coding classes, looking for different opportunities. You've also, I think, emphasized the importance of just being in the right sector and in the right place to really then thrive professionally. And I applaud you for that. In terms of looking at the program, Brad had talked about, that involvement with companies. You did an internship, I think, with Dick's Sporting Goods and with HBO that no doubt led to the offer that you then received. So as you were looking at the curriculum, that intensity, what really drew you in terms of the way that the program had been designed and thinking, yeah, this is really going to facilitate the sort of transition I'm looking to make?
Yeah, and again, just for context, I feel like I've made a series of more risky decisions of being like, oh, I can just do a startup, or I can go to a coding boot camp in Tokyo, or I can move to Chicago and just like break into product management in this tech company. And looking at CMU or the MSPM website, I felt like this was more of I was diversifying my risk with this sort of decision of a master's program, because I know CMU has a great brand. And I also, the things that stood out to me was in the curriculum, it's practice focused. In service design, that's one of the classes we took. We have to build a project for a real company called Lutron. And I think that was an example on the website that just even the courses have practicality built into them, and you can add these projects to your portfolio. The internship and capstone were huge to me because, that's hands-on experience. There's 2 more bullet points you can add to your resume. And then in addition, when I was looking at the program, I would go on LinkedIn and look at some of these students to see where did they work, where were their internships, where were their capstones, and did they convert to full time? And almost all of them did. So I thought, this was, out of all the decisions I made career-wise, this was the least risky decision I could make.
Brad, you talked about, take a look at the Tepper MBA and how it sort of sits alongside the MSPM. I mean, the return on investment of this 1-year program must be phenomenal. The students, the average median salary for graduates is over $144,000. As you then look at those candidates specifically for the program, are there certain characteristics that you're looking to identify that you feel will thrive with design thinking? You mentioned strategy games, and anything different in terms of the qualities that are really going to succeed in the program?
I think you kind of nailed it right there, Matt. Yeah, the desire the desire and ability to empathize with customers, and also the desire and empathy, the desire and willingness to empathize with your team members and lead them through influence rather than through authority. And then not to be lost in the equation is your upward stakeholders, your bosses, your executives, your shareholders. The ability to solve problems, one way I like to describe it is the focus on solving the right problem and then solving it the right way. So it's not just, we have so many, and I'll clarify this. We have many of our students come from technical backgrounds, right? Most of them are electrical engineers, computer scientists, not all. It's important to say not all, but many of them come from electrical engineering, computer science. Some come from finance and mechanical engineering, other miscellaneous backgrounds. But they come from a world where there's normally a black and white answer. There's a right and a wrong. There's a quantitative answer, and you can deduce what the correct answer is. But in this case, in the life of a PM, you have to be willing to deal with that ambiguity, create the vision, lead your team in that direction, and understand how to gather data along the way. So it's a special set of skills that we look for, and the potential to take what might be an unrefined skill and develop it into something where you can be 10 times more effective than you were before entering.
Right. Many students would be thrilled to enjoy the Tepper network, so much part of the MBA experience at the school. And of course, computer science, you're the top ranked program and point of reference. Now, Jeff, you get both. You have a network from the business school, you have a network from the computer science school. As you think about, the bonds, the friendships that's made, but also these two influential networks, what do you think that will bring you right now, but as you also sort of project forward in the years to come?
Yeah, I think the most valuable thing in this program are the people that you meet. They're in addition to the regular program where people are coming from all over the place internationally with very different backgrounds and different perspectives. The other students in classes that you have, in my business classes, I got to meet a lot of MBAs, get their perspective, get their network, get their advice. And in our technical courses, you meet SCS kids who have their own strengths. And I think the most important thing in product management is having a passion for people and relationship building. I think all these other things, like your technical skills and your design thinking, that can all be figured out, that can be taught. And also product managers don't need to know everything. As long as you know how to work with other people and understand, okay, this is a technical person, I need to kind of adjust how I speak to them. But what's important to a technical person versus a design person. But I think it all comes back to, and take this with a grain of salt. I'm a customer success person at heart, ENFP or whatever, but I think that's the most important thing for a product manager. When I was applying to this program, I thought, I don't know if I'm going to have a shot here. It looks like it's very technical. They might want more technical people, not somebody with a customer support background. But I think this program inherently celebrates diversity, and to me, that's the most important thing about this program.
I'm fascinated, Brad, with the origins of the program and a company like Google. As you said, we ring a bell for a PM profile. Just the idea that the program is born out of those, clear demands or requirements, within industries, companies like Google. How do you think then the program will continue to evolve to reflect the changing demands and opportunities that product managers are going to bring to their companies?
That's a great question, because so maybe to back up or to reiterate, we're in our 5th year right now. We've already been through multiple iterations of the curriculum. We've been through growths even despite COVID, like for one, the program is going to grow to a steady state. We're still in a growth phase right now. We pretty much know that, and all the indicators of what demand look like are leading in that direction. And with the success that we've had, it'll feed more success, and we'll kind of establish ourselves in our space with our niche, and continue to reassess and iterate and continue to and analyze what it is that our students incoming expect, what their reality was upon exit. Like, for example, because I kind of, my background is kind of in a lot of ways dealing with collecting user data and synthesizing it and turning it into plans. Like when Jeff's cohort graduated in December, I sat down with as many of them as I could during the month of December to say, tell me all your thoughts. And some of those thoughts were that you know, as time passes, as the program becomes bigger and sort of more established, some more flexibility within the electives, because our students come in from different starting points. So having more flexibility to steer toward design or steer toward business or steer toward a specific industry is one of those things that is kind of inevitable. It won't necessarily be like an MBA track, but it will be more flexible electives. That's a big one. And we're kind of keeping certain aspects sacred at the same time, so they will not evolve. Like the 1 year, that's a selling point, and the internship is a selling point. So there are certain things that we consider to be keystones or foundational, and then things along the lines of the electives and following the trends of the almost two personas of incoming students that we have, where we have very, very seasoned tech professionals, people that literally are making the choice between, do I want to be a functional software manager or do I want to move into product management? That's one type of person that has between 6 and 12 years of experience, and they know that they're at a crossroads in their career. Then we have some younger, sort of very tenaciously minded, like tunnel vision. I only want to be a product manager. I already know that. And you know, I'll knock over any obstacle necessary to get there. So it's and they have slightly different needs from start to finish. So accommodating those and understanding those is continuous. We'll probably have iterations on the curriculum and the program itself every year. The other thing that's new, or the other thing that's evolving, since we're only in our 5th year, we haven't until now really had alumni involvement because the quantity wasn't there. But this year we have one-on-one peer mentors, and we have different, Jeff is literally working here in the office, and he and a few of his other 2021 grads were instrumental in our orientation process. And it's just, there's a lot more alumni involvement as we grow that base.
Yeah, I can imagine as an alum and having been through such a great experience, Jeff, it must be great now to sort of share that experience with the next generation. So it's often that Thanksgiving weekend, you go home and you face that question from mom and dad, you know, what are you doing with your life? Where are you headed? And you already had the seeds of a great answer, and look where it's taken you next. So as I think of our viewers and this idea of returning to grad school, business school, computer science, of course, as we said earlier, you actually took on both. What would your advice be? Perhaps both the big picture of, you know, really taking the time to think about where you'll be happy, where you will feel fulfilled, you know, doing work that you love, and then, you know, looking for the sort of program that will provide those opportunities.
Yeah, I think like the first advice that I would think about for prospective applicants is to not underestimate your background. I initially thought, you know, being the lone customer support specialist background against a bunch of software engineers and like other technical people, serial founders, that like I had a little bit of like a chip on my shoulder. Like I didn't know if I could measure up with them. But I came to quickly realize that my background, or what I thought was a perceived weakness, was actually my strength, because I viewed things very, very differently. And I think product management in general just inherently celebrates diversity, because product managers can come from any background. They can be like a philosophy person. They could be a bartender. A bartender has great people skills, and that is crucial. Like I would encourage a ton of bartenders to apply to this program. So that's one thing. Lean into your strengths, and if you're like selecting a program, select a program that acts as a platform to celebrate your unique background and your unique, the diversity. And also have classmates that are, different, that everybody doesn't come from the same background or looks the same. And I think this program does a great job of that.
Well, with the push for all the bartenders, I can see why you've volunteered to become an alumni mentor. You'll never have to buy a drink again. Yes. It must be incredibly rewarding for you, Brad, and your colleagues to bring in that diversity of perspectives and experience. So where do our viewers go from here? What are the best ways for them to find out more about the program, if it's that right combination and fit for them, and getting in touch with you?
Well, the timing of this discussion is perfect. And for those who are watching it filmed, this is March 16th, and we just opened our annual recruiting cycle. So maybe to back up and answer a question that's not necessarily obvious, is our academic year starts in January, ends in December. So we run parallel with the calendar year, and our admissions is just now opening in such a way that we'll have our first round in June, our second round in July, and which means these next few months, these spring and early summer months, are the time to ask questions, the time to do your research, the time to include us in the portfolio of schools that people are applying to. That said, we just updated, we're in process of a bigger update, but we just refreshed our website. It's on the Tepper website. It's also linked on the SCS website, but we're mainly hosted on the Tepper website under programs. I guess, Matt, logistically, what's the best way to share that with the audience? Is that something that
that's something that they'll be able to, we'll be able to share with them, and you'll be no doubt reminding them of those June and July deadlines and everything to prepare between now and then.
And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Connect with, we will be having office hours that are not yet posted because, like I said, we're just opening admissions and they aren't established yet. But there are office hours, there's LinkedIn, there's I'm relatively, my contact is all over the website, pretty easy to find. And there are, we have a great, I can't say enough about the great team that we have here, both in admissions and with career support and all these other things. So I'd say start with the website, check. My name is weird enough that I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. So that's those are two good starting points.
Great. Well, it's always a thrill for me through the Masters Festival to not only find out individuals but schools, how they're innovating these great programs. And wow, this was just fantastic to spend the last 30 minutes with both of you, those perspectives on what it's brought you, Jeff, and the enjoyment, satisfaction that brings. And clearly, Brad, a wonderful ambassador for the school. You just emanate the enthusiasm of what you're doing, and I can imagine why. So I encourage our viewers to reach out and find Brad on LinkedIn, but get onto the both the SCS and the Tepper websites to find out more about the MSPM. Brad, Jeff, it was lovely to have you with us at the Centre Court Masters Festival.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.